Our first speaker is Sam Watson, a local academic, an Aboriginal advocate, and a long-time refugee supporter and advocate since Tampa days. Thank you, Sam.
Sorry, I thought I'd done my bit with Uncle Bob. But look, it's important that we're here, and I thank Uncle Bob and Auntie Kathy as elders of our community for offering the welcome and saying what he said, because Aboriginal people, I mean, since the early days of this issue, and we're going back a long time. As Uncle Bob said, that generation has memories of what happened in post-Second World War, when masses of people were persecuted by the Nazi regime and had to flee their homelands. And then, of course, coming into the 60s and 70s, we watched what was happening in Vietnam, and there were a large number of people coming from Vietnam after the fall of Saigon. And our mob in Darwin welcomed the boats. The people were checked over medically, given food, clothing, etc., transported to capital cities like Brisbane, and we had a large mob of Vietnamese people staying out there at the Waco Army Barracks. There were no fences put up, no razor wire, no armed guards. People were just taken in, placed into the huts there. Their applications were processed, and then they were moved out into the community around Darra and Nauru, Sunnybank and these sorts of places. And there was no drama. We leap forward to the Howard administration and the so-called Tampa election, and that changed the debate incredibly. And again, Aboriginal people watched, and we were mystified, dismayed by the inhumanity of what was being done. Because we, as Aboriginal people, know the enormous step it takes for people to have to leave, to walk away from their ancestral homelands. We've been through that ourselves. We've had to leave country. And after generations of being bound and connected to the sacred lands, we know what it does to men and women and children to have to walk off that in order to seek safe sanctuary elsewhere. We know what these people are going through. And across the 500 tribal nations on this land, and that's the different language groups, the different family networks, there are basic cultural protocols in place to always welcome the traveller, to always open our hearts and our community and what we have to share and bring people into our camps. We ask very simply that people just respect our mob, respect our culture, respect our ways, but share. Aboriginal culture is such a sharing, open experience. That's all we've ever asked, and that's been experienced for a long, long time. And as new people have come into Australia, you can see across our community that most of our families have blood ties and family connections to major cultures across the globe. And there's no great mystery or drama in that. So when Howard, back in the Tampa days, took that step, and that step was further embraced by Labor, and as we've seen since that time, they fine-tuned their absolute savagery. They've hijacked the language, they've demonised people who have, as I said, fled their ancestral homelands, in many cases never to return, in order to be able to raise their children in a safe place. So they don't have to fear being bombed in their front rooms. They don't have to fear soldiers running in. And Australia's contributed to these wars, these conflicts. So on one hand, Australia sends ships and troops, guns, ammunition, etc. into these places to fight these wars, create a whole new population of refugees that have to flee these places, but then close their doors. And they do it in the grubbiest, most incomprehensible way. I mean, they play with lines on a map with these so-called national borders. And on one hand, they will extend their national borders hundreds of kilometres up into the Timor Sea in order to steal gas and resources from the small nation of Timor. On the other hand, they're going to shrink those borders in order to deny genuine asylum seekers and refugees the legal opportunity to lodge an application for refugee status. So 3 years ago, our mob met and came together in Canberra and Sydney and developed Aboriginal passports. Those passports are still there, and we still offer those passports to asylum seekers and refugee seekers, refugees coming into our country, our land. Because as I said, Aboriginal culture is a sharing, open culture. It always has been. And every one of us comes from an earth-based culture. This country is here. The storylines, the songs, the dances, the ceremonies need to be shared. And we welcome asylum seekers and refugees into our country, into our families, to teach their children those things as well, so they can also bond with this land one time. Thank you.